are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 613. We are recording immediately after Game 1 of the Knicks Heat. Probably not the best of ideas.
No, probably not the best of times. But Jay, you still not worried? Jay kept telling me before the series, I'm not worried. Knicks are the better team. Knicks are much deeper. Heat have no chance. How you feeling now, Jay?
I feel like when I said I wasn't worried, I wasn't expecting the Knicks to shoot 20% from three.
I guess you haven't been following the Knicks all season like I have. I'm not surprised. Are you the least bit surprised the Knicks just suck from three today?
This bad, yeah. I mean, if they shoot 30, which is still a decent amount below league average, they win the game.
Yeah, but the Knicks have had plenty of games this season where they are terrible and cannot hit a three.
And 20% though? They were 7 for 34.
The Knicks have done that before this season. I don't know. I mean, maybe 25%. I don't know. The Knicks have had a bunch of games where the threes just do not fall. I am surprised. Obi actually was the best three-point shooter. 4 for 11 is not amazing, but it's still decent. Brunson could not hit a single three. Hart could not hit a single three. Barrett was 1 for 5, but that's kind of a given. No one could hit a goddamn three. It was ridiculous.
I'm just saying, if they went 10 for 34, which still stinks, they win the game.
Yeah, I mean, if they do a lot of things, they win the game. But this is not a fun game. This was not a fun game. So
can we just talk about Knicks Cavs Game 5 the whole time?
I was just gonna say, since we last recorded, we had a little meetup with some fans that came to join us to watch Knicks versus Cavs Game 5. It was awesome, great meeting fans.
Yeah, Oscar and Mr. C, thank you for showing up. That was very cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Knicks dominated the Cavs. Mitchell Robinson was ungodly. He manhandled Jared Allen and whatever. Cleveland sucks. Cleveland has to figure themselves out. They have a lot of issues. They look like they were really good, but their bigs are soft. They're Mobley, who they're big, like a guy, like their big young player who's going to become a star, has no offensive game. Their guards are small. Donovan Mitchell did not come up when he did not. He got shown up 2 years in a row by Jalen Brunson in the playoffs. Do you have anything else to say about the Cavs series? Cavs are done, Jay.
I guess we should move on, but I really don't want to move on to the next game.
Heat. I don't know how you were not worried about the Heat. I mean, I know they are down. Victor Oladipo, who kind of sucks anyway. They're out. What's his name?
Hero.
Tyler Hero, whatever. Who's actually a really good player. The problem with the Heat are they are really. I like Tibbs. They have Spoelstra's the better coach, and he's a really good coach. And I feel like the thing with the Heat is everyone plays like Josh Hart. Not that everyone has the exact same game as Josh Hart, but they all give insane effort. And they're just like a team that just like fights the whole way, and they're a really tough team to beat, even when they're missing like a big player like Hero.
I agree. See, I was just going through the matchups, and if you go matchup by matchup, like the Knicks are clearly the better team, and way better, which is why I said I wasn't worried, because I'm looking at the bench where you have Duncan Robinson, Kyle Lowry. He was great today, as Doris Burke mentioned about 400,000 times. By the way, can we have a Knicks playoff game where we don't have like Reggie Miller or Doris Burke, like notorious Knicks haters talking about the games?
Can I just do a public service announcement? If any Heat players are listening to this live, Doris Burke is giving out hand jobs to all the Heat after the game. I can't stand Doris Burke.
I think she wants to marry Kyle Lowry.
She might. I mean, like there was the play you pointed out on Twitter where Hart got tackled, and she's like, I didn't even see contact on that play. And then there was a play with Jimmy Butler, barely got touched, and she was like, wow, that was quite a foul.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane. Whatever. The fouls, what did you think of the refs today?
It was, I mean, I guess for NBA refs, they were all right. I mean, I wouldn't say like the Knicks lost because of the refs. There was some bad calls, but I've seen worse. I've seen way worse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking. I actually was surprised that he shot 29 free throws, but that was also like padded at the end because the Knicks were fouling them at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They were down. I feel like there were some questionable calls on either side. I don't think that's the reason they lost the game. I mean, the Knicks could have made more of their free throws. They just suck at the free. Could someone? Is it so ridiculous for Mitchell Robinson to spend the offseason shooting underhanded at the free throw line?
I mean, the Knicks lost by 7 and they missed 8 free throws.
Yeah, I mean, not that they're going to make every free throw, but like Mitchell Robinson cannot shoot free throws. Would it be so ridiculous for him to do the Rick Barry between the legs thing and like learn that? Because you can't play offense if you can't hit free throws.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're right. So the matchups, if you did the matchups, you want to do it real quickly? Yes.
Sure.
After they lost,
Sure.
Jimmy Butler. What are you putting? Who are you putting against Jimmy Butler?
RJ? Yeah.
Clearly Butler's way better than. No disrespect. RJ's been playing well, but Jimmy Butler's way better.
Yeah. It's not even up for debate.
Okay, point guard. Gabe Vincent, who played really well, but Gabe Vincent versus Brunson.
Yeah, Brunson's better.
Shooting guard. Strus versus I guess Hart.
Yeah, Hart's better.
Yeah, center. Mitch versus Bam.
It's close. I mean, I would give the edge to Bam because he has more of an offensive game.
Yeah, he's got more of an offensive game. And Bam plays pretty good defense. And the bench, just do the bench as a whole.
Well, he didn't do the 4.
Oh, no, not the 4. Oh, okay. Kevin Love versus Obi.
It's close. I would still give it to Obi, I think, but that one's close. When Randall comes back, it's clearly in the Knicks' favor.
Yeah. So, and the bench, we'll give it to the Knicks, right? Of course.
Right. So that's,
But then if you're going these big picture things, but then if you look at it, Butler is, again, no disrespect to JR, Butler is a much better player than JR. That's sorry, not JR. I mean than RJ.
Yeah.
So that's like the big win for them. As good as Tibbs is, they just have a much better coach. And the one thing Knicks do not have that the Heat have is vets that like can like they have some really good vets in this team, whereas the Knicks don't really have too many vets.
So Junior Duke says Larry always plays better on the road. You guys will have a good chance on the road. A young team sometimes struggles at home in high pressure games. They will adjust.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean the Knicks still have a good chance of winning this series, but like the Knicks got everything. Kevin Love played for 16 minutes, and he had his best 16 minutes of the entire season.
Yeah, and Lowry had 4 blocks.
Holy crap. How did he get 4 blocks?
The Knicks played kind of soft today. Like
they really did.
They were getting blocked. They weren't Mitch got rebounds, but I felt like the rebounding game was way different than it was in the Cavs series.
Yeah, I mean the Knicks did win by 9 rebounds in the total, but like what the thing is, the Knicks got a bunch of offensive rebounds. I guess so did the Heat, but like the Knicks would get the offensive rebound, then miss the shot again.
I mean, it was mostly, I think, came down to missed shots. And also, you wur saying Spoelstra's a better coach. Obi was having a pretty good game, and he didn't play the whole fourth. I thought that was kind of weird, too.
There were some weird rotation things. Obi played well. Obi's played okay on defense. His defense is still kind of lacking. I don't know. What do you think of Obi's defense today? I feel like he was I feel like team defense, he was not always where he needed to be. And I think they hurt the Knicks in some plays.
He missed a couple rotations, but when everybody's missing the shots, and it was like as soon as he missed a couple of shots, that was it for the game. And in a game where if you take away Obi's threes, then the Knicks were 3 for 23.
I mean, big picture, Obi played 31 minutes, so I'm like, that seems pretty reasonable. You're right, they could have brought him back in, but I don't know if he was the factor that would have made a difference in the fourth.
I don't know. I just felt like Quickly was having a really bad game again. And
yeah, Quickly was. You need guys to play better.
Yeah, he just has to. Like, he had a couple shots, but he. I don't know.
The bench gave the Knicks. The bench didn't give the Knicks a lot today. The bench gave the Knicks almost nothing actually today.
So the people saying they think they're not going to miss Randall at all, they're wrong. The Knicks need Randall.
The Knicks need Randall. I was going to say, how much did it hurt the Knicks not having Randall today?
I think a lot. I mean, Randall draws attention. Say what you want about his ISO ball and stuff. He draws double teams, which leaves other players open. And he's also a good playmaker. He gets a bunch of assists. He's a really good rebounder. I mean, these are things that Obi doesn't do. Obi played 31 minutes. He had no assists. He did rebound the ball today, which he usually doesn't, which is great. But Randall's a better player.
Right. I mean, it's also that, like, so Obi played 31 minutes. You still have 17 minutes he did not play. And I mean, I guess Obi could have played more minutes, but like, it'd be nice to have 48 good minutes from power forward. And it's hard to do that when Randall's not playing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks like Randall might be back for game 2. He was doing warm-ups today, and he wasn't ready, but he was doing warm-ups, which means he's close.
I have to think also that for game 2, even if Randall plays, he will not be 100%. So Obi's still going to get like 20-plus minutes at least.
Well, I mean, Jimmy might not be 100%. He rolled his ankle pretty bad, and he looked pretty hobbled at the end of the game. And that's with adrenaline pumping and him already warmed up. Like, yeah. I want to beat the Heat with Jimmy out there. I don't want everyone to be like, oh, the only reason the Knicks beat the Heat is because Jimmy rolled his ankle. But on the other hand, the Knicks, it's not like the Knicks don't have injury issues right now, too.
I'm totally fine if Butler misses the rest of the game for the series. And I'm totally fine if multiple injuries happen in the next round also. I just want to win. I don't care. If they miss games, it's not like Jimmy Butler lost his leg and is hobbled for life. If he has to be like, needs 2 weeks to recover from this ankle injury, so be it. Not the biggest deals. You know what? If the Knicks beat the Heat anyway, everyone's going to say, well, they didn't play the Bucks. No matter what the Knicks do, some people are going to be like, well, I guess if there's an asterisk.
I mean, there's probably a point there. Yeah, like everyone's saying, oh, the Heat are so good, Jimmy Butler. But if the Knicks beat the Heat, all of a sudden they're gonna be like, yeah, they beat an 8 seed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the Knicks do. Like, I just want the wins. And so if it helps the Knicks for Jimmy Butler to have a sprained ankle and cannot play next game, that's great.
I would rather Jimmy play. I would rather Jimmy play and the Knicks straight up just beat them.
I would rather Jimmy Butler, not only does he not play, somehow he knocks over Kyle Lowry, and Kyle Lowry also can't play.
You just want a dominoes of sprained ankles?
I want the Heat to be like, Haslam, you got to suit up. You're actually starting tonight. Everyone's injured. I don't care. I just want the goddamn win. I don't care how we get it. It doesn't matter as long as you win the goddamn game. You know what? The Heat beat the Bucks. Part of the reason they beat the Bucks was Jonathan played the first few games. And you know what? Who cares? They're here.
So I just wanted to make one more comment about how bad Doris Burke was. She was talking about how Duncan Robinson stayed ready and he's doing his job now that he's back in the rotation because Harrell got injured, and just going on and on and on. He was 0 for 5 with 0 points, with no rebounds, 1 assist, no steals, no blocks. And she did this whole like speech about how he was ready and he's doing what he needs to do, and now that he's back in the playoffs.
I mean, I get it in the sense of like, so Jeff Van Gundy, who should be doing this game? Like, it's insane not to have him doing the game. They have him he's doing the Golden State game.
I don't get how you have a Knicks Heat game and you don't assign Jeff Van Gundy.
I know he's like the A team, and you're like, well, that's a big game 7. We're gonna put him on that game 7. He has the history with this. Like, You're insane not to put him on this broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't think Doris Burke is good enough to do your game 7, fire her. Because you know what? I can't stand hearing her anyway.
Yeah, she's really bad.
Holy shit. I also thought, I mean, Butler was good. Butler did not kill us today.
He didn't. So even before he rolled his ankle, he had, I think 19, maybe 21 points before he rolled his ankle.
Yeah, he got a couple more. He had 25 points. Butler had a very good game, but this is the kind of game from Butler you'd almost hope. He played almost the whole game, which is fine, but like he got 25 points. He got 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Great game, but he's also contained. He kept them under 30 points. He didn't dominate the game. We got crushed because of Gabe Vincent and Kevin Love. Kevin Love's outlet passes, by the way. You know he's doing the outlet passes. You got a guy in your team, Obi, who does all these, like he always breaks for the outlet. How are the Knicks not prepared for outlet pass after outlet pass from Kevin Love?
Yeah.
He had like 4 in a row.
I mean, 108 points isn't even a crazy amount of points in today's NBA. I mean, the NBA averaged like 116 points a game this season. So like, I don't think their defense was really a problem.
It wasn't. The defense could have played better, but you're right. The offense was the issue.
The offense was the issue. The bench wasn't good. They couldn't hit any threes.
Do you think Grimes is like, he played 10 minutes? Do you think it's just like injuries that like he's like his shoulder's still injured and he can't really shoot because of his shoulder? I know he hit 1-3, but
I think he's definitely affected by his shoulder based on the minutes he's playing. He's got the tape on his shoulder. He's definitely not playing 100%.
Hardenstein, I mean, was fine. He didn't give you that much. Quickly has not been good in the playoffs.
He's been bad since the entire playoffs. He's been bad.
I assume like he's going to be like, hey, you guys are going to extend me? And the Knicks are like, yeah. And he's like, show me the money. I was like almost $6 million a year. And the Knicks are like, here's game film from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was only good in the closeout game against the Cavs. That was the only good playoff game he's had so far.
And he was decent in that game. He wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
He has been just subpar the whole. Yeah. How was Brunson today? What do you think of Brunson today?
When he was in the paint, he was amazing. His floaters, like I felt like every time he was in the paint, he was scoring. Again, same with everybody. Couldn't hit a 3. 0 for 7 from 3. He's not that bad. Like he's arguably the best 3-point shooter on the team. So that
he probably is. But he had 5 turnovers. He looked a little rattled today.
I don't know if he was rattled.
I
just say he just had an off game. Maybe their defensive scheme threw him off a little bit.
Yeah, I guess maybe the rattles. I feel like the Heat really did a good job defending him and throwing bodies at him, and he had no one to kick the ball out to because no one could hit a 3.
Right. Yeah. I also feel like the Heat have amazing ball movement. There was 5-6 passes on every single play. They just kept swinging the ball around until there was an open 3-point. Where the Knicks are more an ISO offense, where you drive and you either shoot it or maybe you kick it out once. But it looked like it was completely like night and day, and that's why the Heat got so many open shots.
Yeah, I mean the Knicks had a lot of open threes. The Heat just made them. The Knicks did not make them. But
I just felt like
you're right.
It felt more natural, and the Heat were just. It felt like watching like the Warriors.
You're right. The Heat have a really good passing offense. The Knicks just do the ISO drive, and then the Knicks offense really does not work that well if no one can hit a 3 because then there's no spacing in the paint.
Right. Yeah.
And the Heat also did a good job of like drawing Mitch out of or Hart out of the paint. The cover guys and keeping the paint a little more open when they needed it.
Also, back to Randall being out. Randall's good at drawing fouls too, and that's where the Heat's lack of a bench will come into play when Randall comes back. You know, he gets Bam or Love into foul trouble. There's not much. There's no big men coming up. A lot of these teams have like 2 or 3 bench guys, but like no big men coming off the bench.
Right. I mean, the thing is also like Kevin Love gives Obi trouble, whereas I don't think he gives Randall trouble on defense. And not to knock Obi, Randall just gives you a lot more than having both of them. Basically, is the key to winning the series.
Yeah,
or one of the keys. I don't know. This is a very frustrating game.
So, are you like freaking out about the series now?
Yeah. Are you not?
I'm not freaking out. I'm disappointed, but I'm not freaking out. I still think the Knicks are the better team, and if Randall comes back, I think they win in 6 still. I just wasn't happy with the way today looked, but I don't think they're going to shoot like that going forward, and I think they're going to get healthier. So I'm still not like freaking out about the series.
I mean, the positive or the things you have to think going forward, you have to think Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love are older players. They're not going to give the Heat that much. Like, they're going to be very inconsistent going forward. You're not going to get Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love both played great. I don't know if you're going to get that for the Heat, like, going forward. Butler is going to be, maybe his ankle's not going to be great next game. I'm assuming Gabe Vincent and Strus. Gabe Vincent and Gabe Vincent is not going to like be awesome the rest of the way.
I mean, He went on a cold streak too. If you look at his final numbers, it wasn't amazing.
I feel like the Heat just had moments where like it was like the Kevin Love moment, then it was the Gabe Vincent moment, then it was the at some point Butler obviously had his moment. Like it just guys were like playing. Kyle Lowry at some point couldn't miss a shot.
It was the usual third quarter of doom. I mean, it's been going on since we started this podcast like 13 years ago. Like third quarter always stink. If you look, like that was the only like really bad quarter.
Well, the second quarter actually. I mean, like I'm looking now. I had to look at the quarter breakdown. The Knicks were up after 11 after the first quarter. Miami was up by 6 after the first. Miami won the second quarter by 6, but in the third quarter by 11, and won the fourth quarter by 1.
Yeah.
So I mean, realistically, the Knicks only outplayed Miami in one quarter.
Yeah. They got sloppy in the fourth quarter. There was a bunch of turnovers. I thought their shooting was really bad for the first 3 quarters. They shot back-to-back air balls in the fourth quarter.
I mean, at some point, Mitch had an air ball from the free throw line.
He had an air ball,
which felt like a metaphor for the whole game.
And then IQ and I think Brunson both shot air balls back-to-back in the fourth. It was...
Wasn't there the IQ one? Was the IQ one they just called it a pass because it was so ridiculous?
Yeah, I think they were just joking, but
because I think Hart just caught it basically.
Yeah. I mean, it was like 3 feet short. It was ridiculous.
I mean, they really need Randall back also because it deepens the bench. Because then you can play Obi from the bench. The bench really gave them nothing. You kind of need Grimes back more than playing 10 minutes. You got to get more from Grimes.
Well, playing,
and he got to be healthier. I meant
actually playing good because in the Cavs series he wasn't good either.
No. I mean, the Knicks like the advantage. So if you talk about like we talked about before, what like on the paper who's better, but if you talk about the actual game, like in the actual game, the advantages the Knicks had didn't really like play out. The Knicks like Miami's bench outplayed Knicks bench by far.
I wouldn't go by far. I mean,
what do you mean? They like, are you kidding me? Like the Knicks got, what is it? The Knicks got 15 points from the bench, and the Heat got 30 points from the bench. So they got twice as many points from the bench.
Yeah, but they
got real minutes from the bench.
It was basically
Caleb Martin and Kyle Lowry played great.
Yeah, that was it. They had 2 guys. I mean,
well, we had 0 guys on the bench playing well, so I guess it's like a two is greater than 0.
It is. I would say like, oh my God, the Heat bench. But that was supposed to be the Knicks' big advantage, and it was the exact opposite today.
RJ had a pretty good game outside of his 3-point shooting. He played well. Got 7 assists. Like it's not that you can ask for that much more for RJ, but like he also wasn't that great in the fourth quarter. But like you could ask, but he generally had a really good game.
He had a good game. He's not a good ball handler, and when he tries to. He tried to like just play point guard and dribble it all the way up the court, and he just dribbled it right into like a triple team and turned it over.
He dribbled the ball, and I know what play you're talking about. He was going up a court. He dribbled the ball behind his back, and the moment he did that, he just lost the ball.
Yeah.
He doesn't have quite the handle to be like doing that in the open court.
But I am impressed with the 7 assists.
7 assists were great. He got 10 rebounds. He got 20. He actually shot 50% from the field. Like. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you take away also, he was 9 for 25, 9 for 15 from inside the arc.
Yeah.
So like he did except for the 4 turnovers. Like again, I just felt like he could have done more. They needed more in the fourth quarter, or even the third quarter. They needed no one could score besides Brunson, and they need more from guys like Barrett. Needed to step up, had to have an even better game, and like Hart wasn't that great today either.
Yeah, he was all right. I mean, I feel like you got pretty much what you need from RJ and Hart.
I feel like Hart needed, with Randall out, you needed more guys to play, just like do more on offense. And I mean, Hart's been so good from 3 and just hitting big shots. He was kind of like, you need more on offense from Hart today.
Well, my takeaways are they only lost by 7. They fell apart in the fourth. They couldn't hit a 3 the entire game. And they probably have Randall coming back. So it's definitely not panic time.
Definitely not panic time. Okay, fair. Talk me down from this ledge. What's gonna change going forward? You're saying the Knicks they shouldn't be this bad from 3 going forward.
They won't be. I mean, 20%. The Knicks are a bad 3-point shooting team, and they still averaged 33% for the season. Like 20 is way below that. And if
it's hard to believe Brunson won't hit a 3 next game. It's hard to believe like Hart should shoot better. Quickly should they have guys that can hit the threes.
like I said, even if they shot 30% from 3, they win this game. So the 3-point shooting will get better. Randall will be back. Jimmy might be hobbled or even out. I really honestly feel that the Knicks have a really good chance of winning the series.
I mean, I think you're right about Jimmy in the sense of like he wakes up tomorrow, his ankle's going to feel a lot worse. There's no more adrenaline. And the Heat might also just say, "Hey, we're playing Tuesday. The next game is not till what's the next game? Sunday? What's game 3?
No, they're going from Tuesday to Sunday. No, there's got to be a Friday game in there.
No, it must be a Friday game, right?
Yeah.
I have it right here. So game 3 is the 6th, which is Saturday.
They go from Tuesday to Saturday?
Yeah.
That's insane.
So that's insane, right? But if they do that, go to Saturday, you might just say like, "Hey, instead of having Jimmy go out there and re-injure his ankle, like we stole the game on the road. Let's shit Jimmy, play him Saturday, and have him 100%."
Yeah, because at this point, the Heat only need to win all their home games now.
I'm telling you. So I'm just speaking. This is a PSA to the Heat. Throw game 2. It doesn't matter. You got game 1. Split it with West 1-1 and go back to Miami. We're fine with you doing that. You should sit Butler, sit Lowry, sit everyone basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice for Haslam to play 48 minutes in the playoffs.
I mean, it's his farewell season. He should get.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of like messed up. You're not going to play him 48 minutes in the playoffs.
So you're a little more calm now?
I mean, everything you're saying is right. I mean, the Knicks obviously got blown out by Cleveland in game 2 and won the series 4-1. Not the biggest of deals to blow game 1. It was just like, it felt like it felt like the Heat matched us for everything we were doing. I don't know. I would have felt better if the Knicks just lost and the Heat played. If they both teams just played well on offense, if the Knicks defense was the issue, I would have felt better.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the Knicks couldn't hit any shots. Made me a little more like, are the Knicks going to are the Heat like going to figure out the Knicks offense? And the Heat are just like,
I don't think the Heat's defense was that good. Like for the Knicks to be shooting, like the Knicks missed so many open threes.
no, you're right. I mean, like I can take a bad defensive effort more than I can take a bad offensive effort. I feel like.
Yeah,
it was a gut punch for game
happens.
1. For game 1,
it was, but it happens. You know,
how would you feel, Jay, if you spent $500 a ticket to go to this game?
I'm really, really glad I checked myself and did not get a ticket for today's game.
Oh my god, I really wanted to go to. I saw like the worst seats in the house for $500. I was like, I can't even do that. That's just insane.
That was my fear of shelling out a lot of, because my buddy, he grew up in Denver, and when the Broncos made the Super Bowl, he shelled out thousands of dollars for Super Bowl tickets, and that was the one where they lost like 40 something to 7.
Holy crap! That's got to be that's quite a gut punch to sit there and be like, I spent this much money and the team is so terrible.
I mean, that game was over. It wasn't the very first play of the game. It was like a interception for a touchdown, and they were down.
Was that against Seattle? When Seattle had not Seattle against it was Denver versus Seattle when the Legion of Boom, like their defense, right?
I think so. All I know
When
is
they
that
had
the
Peyton
game
Manning?
was over in like the first 3 minutes of the game, and so I was just thinking of that when I was thinking about buying Knicks tickets. I'm like, what if it's just a terrible game?
I was thinking about going to game 5. The tickets drop a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens going forward.
Yeah.
I can't go Tuesday night and Knicks better. Okay, if the Knicks do not win on Tuesday night, I'm going to be in full freakout mode.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think everybody will.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be. I have to think you're right, though, in the sense of Knicks aren't going to be this bad from 3. Lowry is not going to be awesome. The Heat, everything went well for the Heat, and the Heat played just... In many ways, the Heat played as perfect games they could have played. I mean, they also didn't shoot that well overall, I guess, but...
Yeah, I feel like it was more things went wrong for the Knicks than the Heat. The Heat played a solid game. They could have shot a little better, but how much better are the Heat capable of playing? You could have a better Jimmy game, but maybe Jimmy didn't play really well because Hart has played really good defense on him his entire career.
Yeah. Yeah, his numbers against Hart's numbers, I forget what they were, but they actually look really good against Butler.
Yeah, Butler does not play well against Hart, like
except for
careers.
today when it mattered.
Yeah, he played well, but he didn't play like 56 and 42 in his last 2 playoff games. Like he wasn't doing that. And
I gotta say that shot he hit against the Bucks was insane to tie the game.
Yeah, he's not going to have like a 50-point game against the Knicks. The Knicks are a better defensive team.
You don't think so? You don't think the Bucks? I mean, sorry, you don't think Butler will have one game where he just goes off?
No.
Okay, I do think this will go 6 games, possibly 7.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a like in the first quarter, the Knicks were up, and the Knicks were like at some point you were like, "Wow, this might be a really easy series."
Mm-hmm.
And Jay's like, "I'm not worried." I'm like, "I'm getting a little worried," and it's going to be a goddamn rough series.
Junior Duke says every team goes through adversity to get anywhere. It's never easy and never looks the way you think it will. Teams even come back from 0-3 to 0-2 more than ever. And Nice says IQ is pissing me off coming from an IQ fan.
Yeah, those comments are both fairly accurate.
Yeah, I feel like especially in today's NBA where usually every guy on the court can hit a 3, that games can swing wildly from game to game based on who gets hot and who doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, like really, Brunson didn't even have a great shooting. If Brunson can be just on fire at times. If Brunson like has a game where he's like on fire and goes like 16 for 26 from the field and hits like 4 threes, Nick's gonna be hard to beat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we said though, IQ has to play better. He just has to. He even had that stupid foul where he fouled on a 3-point shot. It's like he's not even playing really good D.
The Knicks had a bunch of just dumb fouls. RG had one near the end of the game where he got called for I guess an illegal pick, and you were like, how could they call that an offensive foul this late in the game? Then you see the replay, and RG just throws his elbow. I'm like, throws his shoulder. I'm like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah,
the game's on the line. And you're like committing just idiotic fouls.
Yeah, that didn't even look like a pick.
No, it was just a dumb like foul. They're trying to be tough at the exact wrong time.
My only other worry is that Mitch hurt his hip in this game. And
why do you think that?
He did.
I mean, I know he got hit, but why do you think he was actually like really injured?
He grabbed his hip like 3 or 4 times throughout the game after that.
Oh, maybe I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like whenever say Hart got a rebound and Mitch was turning to like go back up the court, he would like grab at his hip. So
okay, well Mitch had a solid game. I think he was one of the better Knicks, even though he was actually the worst in plus minus. But like, I thought he had a pretty solid game.
He had 14 rebounds. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue, but it is something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't be surprised if something came out about that.
It also really felt like the Heat were like trying to change up their shots because they were worried about Mitch. Like it felt like he was a big factor in the paint.
Of course, I mean they were paying attention to the Cavs series. They saw how he ate up Allen and Mobley.
Yeah, I was just like, I feel like he was like I know the plus minus has been the worst, but I feel like he was one of the best Knicks on the court. But yeah, Hart and Brunson. Well, Hart has to play, but Brunson has to play. But it's hard to win also without IQ playing well, and they really need Randall back for game 4. I am a mess right now, Jay.
I can tell you can't even like.
I am a complete mess, just like the Knicks offense. I am a complete mess right now. When they crush the Heat on Tuesday night, they will be back with a very happy recap. But right now, I am a complete mess.
It'll be okay. Knicks in 6.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Everything you're saying makes sense. I am overreacting a little bit to like guys in the Heat playing a little bit above where they should have played. Butler's going to play well. Bam's going to have a good game. No one else on the Heat is necessarily going to play well in other games.
I mean, I feel like the Heat are that team where like 1 or 2 guys are going to play well. You just never know who it's going to be. Probably not Duncan Robinson, but
Duncan will have one game where he'll hit some shots.
Yeah, but
he'll hit like 3 or 4 threes. Like it's bound to happen.
Yeah, but if Duncan's on the court, then you just attack him the whole time.
But I kind of feel like I said before, like the Heat they fight for every ball. They fight like they play the way Hart plays, and that a team like that is a hard team to beat in the playoffs.
I feel like they definitely had more heart than the Cavs.
Yes. I felt like the Cavs felt like game 5, you were like, this is going to be a really tough game. Cavs are going to give their all. And you felt like the Cavs were like way too early in the game, just looked beaten. Cavs was like, we're not going to figure this out.
Well, I mean, even after game 1, they spent the next 2 days just complaining about the fouls and contacting the refs and like basically doing press conferences about how mean the Knicks are. And like, I feel like the Heat wouldn't do that. They're just big. Yeah, they beat us. We'll get them next time. It's a different mindset. They're better coached. They're
much better coached. Yeah, than the Heat, than the Cavs. I mean, they're better coached than the Knicks. Like they have they have one of the best coaches in the NBA.
They do. So that's not something to overlook. But still, Knicks in 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna still go with Knicks in 6. I was hoping Knicks in 5. I'm definitely not saying Knicks in 5.
Your original pick was Knicks in 7, wasn't it?
We never made him pick on the show though.
We didn't.
Well, we didn't know the Knicks were playing. We didn't do a show since Game 5, so we didn't know the Knicks were going to play the Heat.
We did it at the bar.
Oh, we did it at the bar. Yes, you're right. I mean, Knicks in 7 seems real. I would like Knicks in 7. By the way, that Game 7, that's going to be a pretty penny for that ticket.
Yeah, well.
Holy crap!
All right. So do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I mean, do you? This game was depressing. Right now, Sacramento and Golden State are playing a Game 7, so we should get back to watching that. Anything else you want to say about the around the league? Lakers won. They beat Memphis. Memphis also probably was really hurting by missing Adams. Any other series you want to comment on?
So I feel like the East was pretty predictable, other than this current matchup, like Boston Philly, like no surprises there, right?
Embiid might miss the first 2 games, by the way.
He might.
What do you think of Denver Phoenix last night?
Love that. Good to see the Kardashian curse alive and well.
So I didn't realize this, but Phoenix has literally no one on the bench.
They don't. It's really bad. Well, that's what happens when you trade for a superstar. Your ceiling goes up because your starting lineup is elite. But if anything goes wrong, you don't have anybody off the bench to back that up.
Do you think Kevin Durant would be better off having lost in the second round with the Nets or losing in the second round with Phoenix?
I mean, I think it's...
So I guess those are the 2 options, right?
I think it's funnier tanking the Nets while also losing in Phoenix. Like, he got best of both worlds for a hilarity standpoint this season. That's if they lose the second round. I mean, it's only one game.
They're gonna... I mean, it's 1 game in, I know, but I feel like Denver's going to win that series, and I would love to see Denver win that series because I'm just rooting really hard against Kevin Durant.
You know me and Chris Paul and Devin Booker, too. I just don't like players that flop, and I feel like Phoenix has like 6 of them.
I also think it'll be just the news stories around how much Durant forcing his trade to Phoenix and then losing the second round will be just like really great. I really want to hear Bill Simmons after that.
Also, a brilliant move by Jay Crowder to sit out the whole season only to go to Milwaukee and get DNPs.
You know what? I forgot where he even went.
He could have been playing 25 minutes a game in Phoenix.
Why did he just play for Phoenix?
Because they said he wasn't going to start. He threw a hissy fit and said he needed to be a starter.
I mean, it's just insane to sell the entire season for that, especially at season when you're like where you have a shot in the playoffs.
Yeah. So then he went to Milwaukee and they didn't play him.
Why didn't Milwaukee play him, by the way? That didn't seem to help them.
I think the amount of skill that he thinks he has is not nearly on par with the amount of skill he has.
I mean, he's definitely overrated a little bit, but he's a solid player. You might want to, after losing to the Heat in 5, you might want to have played Crowder. Not that he would have made the difference, but...
Nice says, if IQ's not playing well, give him the Julius Randle RJ treatment, sit him down.
The problem is if IQ's not playing well, who are you giving his minutes to?
Well,
he kind of has to play 20 minutes either way, unless you're going to bring in Deuce.
Well, Grimes would have to be playing well. Yeah, or Deuce. I
right.
Guess. The problem is Grimes is playing terrible. So, like, you need either Grimes or dust off Deuce because somebody's got to play well.
Somebody's, yeah, like, there's only so many options. There's only so many players we have on this team. Like, it's like if Brunson's not playing well, you could sit him, but there's no one that's going to take over Brunson's role. If Quickly's not playing well, you kind of need Quickly here to play well. It's just you need that.
Yeah.
And the final point about Randall not playing, it would be really nice to have Toppin's energy and what he gives coming off the bench as opposed to just being the starting player.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I feel like Toppin and IQ have good chemistry. And when Toppin's starting, IQ's kind of like a little bit lost.
I mean, even if you had Randall coming off the bench, which is not going to happen, and Toppin starting, you just not having that extra guy who could really score off the bench really hurts.
Well, I mean, as teams like Phoenix are finding out, like if you don't have a bench, it's a lot harder.
Last point, we'll end the show, but I have a question, Jay. We have a bunch of Patreon money. Can we buy a Jimmy Butler voodoo doll, or have you already done that and just thought? And is that why Butler got injured?
Look, I don't wish for injuries on players. I want to beat a healthy team.
Do you think we should get a voodoo doll just for the sake of seeing if they work?
Go for it.
Okay.
All right. So we're NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, and Twitter. You can email us, that's our other show, The Brink of Sanity. That's our comedy show. We're not doing that right now. Our email is...
We'll be back soon with that.
We will. We'll be doing a lot more. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com is our email. I want to watch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon, or YouTube, youtube.com/TITOWAJ. Anything else before we go? No?
Next show will be a happier, more energetic episode that will not involve me being completely depressed and despondent. Jay is right. Things will get better from here. Goddamn Knicks. Love the Knicks. And you know what? Also, just no one can say, no matter what happens in this series, it was a very successful season for the Knicks. They have a young team. They're going to the playoffs next year. The future looks bright. But come on, you got to win this goddamn series.
They do. They do. I feel like they should.
They should.
It's an 8th seed, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. I mean, the Heat played the Knicks pretty well all season. If the Knicks lost this series in, say, 7, I'd be like, okay. Like,
I still think the Knicks should be beating them.
They should beat them. They should goddamn beat them.
Okay. So thank you, everybody who joined in the chat. And we will be back after Game 2.
Yes.
So that's Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this out on over text.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. You better go away.
I'm gonna leave.